Hey, I'm Zack, and today I'm going to be answering some of your questions around why there are so many different versions of the Bible and how to choose one. Which Bible should I read? Well, I think my answer to this is going to be the Bible that you actually read. I don't know if you've ever been to a restaurant and you've kind of seen a menu and it's had like so many different items on the menu and you're like, well, which meal do I choose? Eventually you're going to be hungry enough that you're just going to need to pick one. And I think it's kind of the same with the Bible. There are so many good translations out there. We're so blessed. So I recommend just picking one that you actually read, whether it's the NIV, ESV, whichever one, read it consistently. KJV, NIV, ESV, NLT, and The Message can feel really different. Why is that? These different translations are going to have different purposes. And so it depends who is their intended audience and why are they making these translations. The NLT, for example, is going to fall more in that meaning for meaning camp. They're going to aim to translate the Bible in a way that average person and even kids can understand. And so it's going to flow a lot more. And you'll also notice there's going to be a lot more words are used in a typical verse in the NLT, as opposed to something like the ESV, which is kind of the other end of the spectrum. They're going to be translating with as few words as possible, trying to match on to the original Hebrew or Greek. The Message is a bit of a different project. All of these other translations that I've been talking about, they have a committee of scholars who are all working on the translation, and whereas The Message is a project by a single man, Eugene Peterson, who was a great scholar and a man who had a pastor's heart. He really cared about the Bible and he really cared about people. And it's more than a translation, it's kind of like a paraphrase. You'll notice if you're reading The Message, sometimes it'll block two verses together, trying to really get to the heart in such a way that it comes across smoothly, in a way that's quite poetic and engaging. So The Message is great, but it is doing something a little bit different to these other translations. Is any translation actually wrong? Or are they all just making different choices? I want to say for the most part, they are just making different choices. But that's not to say that every translation is right. And I would say that there are some that are wrong. For example, the New World Translation, it translates that famous verse at the beginning of John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God, rather than saying that the Word was God. That's obviously a really important verse, and it's misunderstanding what's going on in the Greek in that verse. There are some that I'd say are kind of off limits, and that being one of them, but for the most part, if you go onto Bible Gateway, you're going to encounter a bunch of different translations that are great. Just pick one and read it. What is your advice for someone who wants to study the Bible more seriously? Should they be reading multiple translations? Yes, I think that's a great practice to have if you have the time. So if you're wanting to sit down and really dig into a particular Bible passage, then I encourage you to read that passage in multiple translations and notice any significant differences that you can see. The other thing that I encourage you to do is notice any repetition, and the word-for-word translations are particularly helpful for this. Biblical authors will often convey their meaning by repetition of words, phrases, and imagery to help you see what they're trying to get at. It'll help you to dig deeper in your own Bible study. One of the great ways to study the Bible is in community, not just by ourselves, but with others. And one of the things that I've loved about studying here at Morling is that I get to do just that. As I'm studying books of the Bible and as I'm learning the original languages that are behind these translations, I can wrestle with and have conversations with other people who love the Bible and love God and are trying to understand what these texts are saying. If that's where you're at, I encourage you to head to our website and check out the courses. If you've enjoyed this series, I encourage you to like and subscribe and share this with someone who wants to dig deeper into Scripture. See ya.